Hello and welcome to Trey's Talks to Grow, your monthly encouraging and equipping resource. I'm Trey Baker, Chief Cultivator at the Mustard Seed Company. This month we're discussing how you can be successful using the preference discipline. I read a great coaching question from executive coach Bill Hart of Building Champions. He calls it the noon effect question. Essentially, it asks, if you had to leave work every day by noon, what discipline would you need to possess in order to still accomplish your professional goals? So I love that question because it really breaks down to two really cool parts. First of all, professional goals. Do you even know what they are? Are they written down? Now, this is the part that was most convicting for me because most of the time my goals are all about helping other people achieve their goals. So it's easy for me to fall into that trap of not having professional goals. So love the question because the first thing it really points out is the need for professional goals. The second part of the question that's great is the disciplines you need, right? It says, what disciplines do you need to still accomplish your professional goals in the upcoming year? So you've got to make sure you have certain disciplines. So the preference discipline is what I want to talk to you about today. The preference discipline says that when it comes to my professional goals, I will use my power to choose. When it comes to my professional goals, I will use my power to choose. So when it comes to professional goals and activity, how do you know what the right choices are? I've been rereading some old John Maxwell material, and I was reminded of the Pareto principle. Now, he certainly didn't come up with this, but he's got it in a lot of his material. And in case you've never heard of this, but chances are you have in some way, shape, or form, but just in case you haven't, the Pareto principle says, for many events, roughly 80% of the results come from 20% of the activities. It's also commonly known as the 80-20 rule. Therefore, it is so important, right? It is critical to identify the right 20%. The Pareto principle was a great reminder for me because I don't know if you experience this or not, but many times I end up giving 80% of my energy, my effort, and my time to the things that are not in alignment with my professional goals or creating the greatest value for me and my business. So now that we've been reminded about that principle, how do we flip the script on it? How do we make sure we're spending the right time doing the right things? You know me, and I'm all about the system. So for me, I've identified some key items to help me create a track to run on. And I want to share these with you, and then you can decide how they fit into your world. First of all, I recently downloaded and I'm using Toggl. And Toggl is a great little app. We'll put that up on the screen so you can find out where to find it. But basically what Toggl does, and there's a free version of it, is it lets you track your time. You literally log in every single thing that you're doing throughout the day. Now, you may be thinking, I simply don't have time to track my time. And none of us do. But here's what's interesting. When I sit and talk to people, they always go, well, I'm so busy and I got all this going on and all this type of stuff. Well, when you begin tracking time, you begin to get some data points so you can actually see what's going on with my time, right? It's just like tracking your money with your QuickBooks Online or tracking your calendar. The only way you're going to know what to do is if you're tracking it. My friends in the Lean Six Sigma world and the manufacturing world taught me some great terminology. When it comes to things that we're doing at work, there are value-added items. That means this is adding value to the organization. There are value-enabling items. These are things that maybe will help the organization at some point. They enable value, but it's not a direct bottom-line benefit right now. And then there's non-value-added times. Those are the three types of things in their world. When you begin to use Toggl or something like that, you will begin to see in your own world what's value added, what's value enabling, and what is non-value added. And the other part that I'm hoping to benefit from by going through this activity is when I see the different things that I'm doing throughout the day, I'm hoping to be able to find patterns where I can batch certain activities together, therefore being able to get to the right 20%. Second, I committed to completing a great activity that I found on Michael Hyatt's blog. If you're not familiar with Michael Hyatt, you can go to michaelhyatt.com or do a Google search and you'll be able to find his blog. He's got some great material on there. Now, you can search on his blog and you'll find a spreadsheet he created called My Ideal Work Week, where he painstakingly details out his ideal work week. Now, when you first see this, you may react the way that I did. I was very resistant to the idea of it. I was like, man, there's no way I'm going to sit down and do that. And there's a reason I think I reacted that way to it. It's because it's very convicting. Once you sit down and give yourself that type of target to shoot for, all of a sudden you know what, there's some things that I can begin to do every single day to be more effective, to get to those items that are the 20% that are going to have the greatest impact on my organization. So I encourage you to go to the site, find that spreadsheet, and begin to think about your ideal work week. Last thing I did was this. I went public, okay? I reviewed this material with a few other professionals that I work with because of their desire to grow in this area as well. And in a few weeks, we're all going to meet and discuss our findings about Toggl, about our ideal work week, about our professional goals, everything. You see, I value the conversation, and I had to tap into my desire to encourage others for my own motivation to complete the activity. So whatever it takes for you, find your motivation. I encourage you to create your system and practice the preference discipline. After all, the question isn't whether or not our calendars are going to be filled. Instead, it's who or what will be filling our calendar. Use your power to choose and accomplish your professional goals this year. I'm Trey Baker with the Mustard Seed Company, offering coaching, consulting, and training in work, wealth, health, and self.